Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Angus Levie, and I am part of the Winners Circle. I'm the founder of the Scholars Den. We used to call ourselves the Winners Wealth, but we decided a bit too close to Winners Circle, so we actually changed our name last week. Um, I am also a professional hypnotist, as well as a professional trader. I trade in the morning with my team at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. We trade binary options, which is a type of Forex, but it's very fast, bang, bang, in and out, and quite stressful actually at times. Um, but we can take huge profits and huge losses. Today we did 30% in half an hour, but we also took a big loss at the beginning of the week. So, swings and roundabouts. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is a bit more about how our mind operates, how we think, and how you may be able to use that knowledge in a way which can help you to understand why you think the way you do a little more. Now, I'm going to leave it open for you guys. If any of you at any time want to chip in with a question or a comment, um, feel free to do so. There's not that many people on, so it's not like it's going to be uncontrollable. Uh, Usually these mindset type events are where you've got somebody all pumped up and going for it and trying to get you enthusiastic. That's not how I work. As a hypnotist, I work by working with your subconscious mind, and that is where all our emotions are held. I'm actually going to quickly share my screen with you for 2 seconds, just to give you an example, so you understand a bit better about how our mind is. Now, as you can see here, it's not a great picture, but this is an iceberg, okay? But it's also your brain. And the top part that's above the water is actually your conscious mind. In other words, that's the part of your mind that's looking at me now and deciding, is this guy full of it, or is he somebody that I'm going to be paying attention to? And then the other part of your mind is your subconscious mind, that part that you're not actually aware of. And it's 2/3 at least of your mind. Some people would say up to 90%. And that part of your mind is doing everything else. It's making your heart pump. It is working your kidneys, your livers, your digestive system, all of those things that keep your body going. But it's also in charge of your emotional side, how you think, okay? And it's that part that actually controls us. And it's that part that can help us be successful or not. It's that part that can drive us into depression or make us elated. And as a hypnotherapist, what I do is I work with people and help them to understand how their mind works, but also to help them control those thoughts that come into their minds every so often. We can change the way we think just like that in a heartbeat. Uh, I like giving the analogy, how many of you have in your past, and you can say it here in the chat, have had a relationship, you were in love, everything was going great, and you had that special song, okay, like that was just for the two of you, and maybe you had a breakup, and then there was another song, but every time you hear it, it would, you go, oh, you'd feel sad and miserable because you link it to that failed relationship. Yeah, excellent. Uh, so I can relate to that too. And it's funny how our mind works. It can bring uh, emotional things, and it attaches it to different stimuli. In this case, I'm talking about music or song. Sometimes it can be a sense of smell. How often do you smell something? Maybe baking bread, and it brings you back to maybe your grandparents or your mother's cooking, and it makes you feel warm and comfortable and secure. Sometimes the opposite, who knows? But are you following what I'm saying here, guys? Just give me a one if you're understanding what I'm saying, because it's important to understand these things. And sometimes things happen within our lives, and it triggers feelings such as anger or even hate, or sometimes pleasure, laughter. And we don't understand why you suddenly have those feelings. It's because your subconscious mind has actually attached itself to some sort of stimuli or memory from the past. And that memory can be triggered by something you heard, okay? Uh, or it can be from something you smelt, it can be from something you felt or saw. So all of these things, feel, felt, uh, and sight. Oral can be hearing as well. All of these things can can be linked to emotional states. So the next time you find yourselves having a unusual response that comes out of the blue, think about, well, what just happened here, and why am I feeling this way? And you're going to then find that you can understand better why you act the way you act to certain things. Have you ever had, maybe there's somebody close to you, a family member or a friend, and you sometimes have this irrational uh, sense of anger or lack of patience with them for some reason. That can be caused by something that happened in your past, but that keeps getting triggered whenever you're in their presence, maybe by something they said. But it's all in the past as far as you're concerned, yet it keeps getting triggered, okay? And these are things which can hold us back in our lives. And it's by recognizing them that we can get over them. Now, sometimes it requires a professional such as myself to help you get over those things. But one of the greatest ways of being able to get over them is actually by understanding what they are and where they come from. And then you can deal with them, usually yourself, by just being aware the next time you feel that irrational feeling coming into your mind, being able to say, oh, hold on a second, this isn't actually why I'm feeling this now, whatever's happening. It's a past memory or event being triggered in my now. Okay. Are you finding this useful? Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Now, let's start looking at how we can apply this to what we're doing today in our work. I just forgot I'm still sharing the screen, but actually I want to put on another picture here and look at what success is. Here again we have the familiar iceberg that we had before, and you see how the top bit of it is sticking up, and that's success. But underneath that, are all of these things which can be negative, and any one of these things can stop us from attaining our dreams, from pushing forward in life. Hard work is the first one there. How many of us, you know, don't want to work hard? Okay, we're, you know, we've seen it within our business recently, where there's people who, for whatever reason, have not moved forward because it's too hard. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to have to introduce anyone. You do it for me. Okay? There are people who just won't succeed because they don't want to work. People who are not able to persist through all of the issues and the problems. Unfortunately, I can say that with Epic, we've actually had very few problems. My goodness, I've been in probably over 20 different multi-level marketing companies in my life, and Epic, compared to nearly every single other one of them, is a doddle. It's simple, it's easy. We've not had any real big issues, except for many of us, the biggest issue has been, once we went from pre-launch to launch, why did not everybody follow us on? And maybe it's because some of these things stop them. Okay, maybe it was fear of failure, not just failure, but fear of failure. How many times have you not done something, not phoned that person because you're afraid they'll say no? Fear of rejection. Number 4 here. I think for many people, that is probably one of the biggest things that stops them advancing in this business. Fear of rejection, you know. But hold on a second. They're not rejecting you, are they? Let's be honest. What you're doing is you're offering people an opportunity of financial freedom and time freedom. That's all we're doing. Giving people an opportunity of financial freedom and time freedom. Now, if they're saying no to that, it's not you that they're rejecting. It's the idea of what you're offering them. Now, they may be rejecting that idea for many different reasons. One is it's not the right time for them. Maybe they're too busy, or they don't want to have to introduce anyone because it's too hard. Okay? Don't take these things personally. Let them go. Leave the door open for you to come back to that person at another time. Never slam the door in their face. And again, quite often our first reaction when somebody says no to us is to take it personally and say something which actually we regret later. So don't take it personally. Let it go. And Anne says we want to get it right and afraid of getting it wrong. Absolutely. Yeah. Many of us are wanting to be perfect, the perfectionist. But you know how we learn? We learn by our mistakes. When we're babies, learning to walk, how many times does a baby fall down when it's first learning to walk? But does that baby just sit there after the first or second or third attempt and do nothing? Or does that baby struggle and get on all fours and maybe crawl over to a couch or a chair and pull themselves up again and again and again until finally they're walking. And you know, that's what's happening to most of us. We are going to be falling down again and again and again. People are going to disappoint us again, again, and again. People are going to leave the business. People you have real hopes for are going to join you and do nothing, not even check their back office again. And you think, what is going on here? But what you must understand is it's not your problem. All you can do is make sure they have the information and the tools to get set up and help them as much as you can. But if they don't want to be helped, let them go. We have a great saying, don't we? Some will, some won't. Next. Just find the next person. And the thing to understand is it's a numbers game is what we're in here. If you're building the business, that is. It's also a numbers game, I suppose, when you look at the Forex side. But it's a different type of numbers game. And you need a different type of psychology, really, when you're trading. But I'm talking about the business building side here now. We have to be willing to face the obstacles that are going to be in our way. We have to be like that child, that baby, who gets up each time it falls down. Again and again and again until we get it right. I have another favorite picture, which is of the. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second while I look for it. It's a picture of a miner, and he's digging away. Some of you may know this one. I've put it up, I think, a few times in our in our here we go, got it, in our Telegram group. So the reason I'm pausing is because I'm trying to think of what I'm wanting to say. Here we go. So I'm just going to share the screen again. This picture, okay? Here's us last month, banging away, dig towards the diamond, okay? Yeah. And then how many people are here? How many of you feel you're at this point right now? You've dug. You've gone all the way, and you know, people have let you down. There's been rock falls, there's been, you know, cave-ins. You've dug, and you feel, oh, this just isn't worth it. And then, you know, you're about to get to the goal, to where you're successful, and you give up at the last point. I want to tell you something. I'm going to share something with you. I was in another multi-level marketing company, totally different, and I was in it for about 6 months, and I was getting nowhere. And I gave up. I left, and I contacted my sponsor, who's actually joined me not long ago, and he said, Angus, do you realize where your team is now? I said, no. He said, well, they're producing over 500,000 a month in product sales. I get nothing of that. Why? Because I was this guy. I was this guy. I'm not going to be that guy anymore. I'm going to be this guy who's going to continue dig until he hits the diamond pocket. Okay. I've had my setbacks too. You know, let's be honest, most of us expect to be further than we are right now. Okay, if we're honest. But you know, life isn't always that simple. It really isn't. We have to go through so much. And when I think about it again, and I want you to think about this too, we're actually much further on with this company after, you know, okay, we had the pre-launch and now we're in the launch phase. We're only 2 weeks into it. Only 2 weeks into the actual launch phase. And we are actually a lot further than many companies take years to advance in. I was in Amway at one stage, and I remember I got to the 9% after a year of hard work, really hard work. You know, having to go to conferences and, you know, we'd order the product and have to deliver it to everybody and all of this sort of stuff. It was hard work. Amway is actually a really difficult one to work in. And you know, it took me a long time. I wasn't earning that much out of it, 9%, whatever product I sold. So in other words, I'd have to sell €1,000 just to make 100. I'm on a hell of a lot more, I can tell you now, after 2 weeks than I ever was with Amway after, I think it was probably 2 or 3 years before I finally wore myself out. So don't give up. Okay, guys, don't give up. Be willing to put in the hard work. Be willing to persist. Be willing to put in those late nights. Now, Anand will you know, understand what I'm talking about. Well, any of you who are based in outside of the UK, sorry, outside of the North America, you know, being up at 2 and 3 a.m. for these meetings.
Angus, that's most of everyone. So there's about probably 10 people here from my team and downline and such, and we're pretty much UK, Africa, and like Europe.
Excellent.
So, like, we're pretty much all late. You know,
you all know. Yeah, you all know what I'm talking about. Then it's those late nights where we're having to, or early mornings. You know, either you go to bed at 10 or 11, set your alarm for 2 o'clock, and get up. And listen, or if you're one of the leaders taking part, you know, you have to sound bright and cheery. It's not easy, but these are part of the sacrifices that we have to go through to attain our goals of success. All the leaders have gone through the rejections, but you know the difference between the leaders who succeed and those of us, sorry, I should say those of us, those who don't, is those who are willing to accept and take those rejections and move through them, who understand that all of these things are part of what it takes to succeed. Discipline. You know, as a professional trader, one of my biggest problems is those people who don't practice discipline, who don't actually learn how to trade properly and end up blowing their accounts. It frustrates the living daylights out of me. But with this business, you also need to be disciplined. Disciplined to do those steps that you need to do each day the ones Ali talks about, that Damon talks about, that Anand talks about. Those simple things that we need to do every day. Keep doing our lists. Adding new names. Whenever you meet somebody, whenever you talk to somebody, whatever it needs to be done, just do it. And you see, so many people think that they have to recruit. You don't. You just have to put somebody in front of the recruiter. Like myself, yesterday, this time I was doing well, at 7 o'clock, I was doing a opportunity call. How many people did you send to that opportunity call? I think I know. But, you know, those who do have a great opportunity to be successful. And at the end of the day, it's not your problem. All you have to do is ask somebody to attend a meeting for half an hour and let them make up their mind after that. That's all we have to do. It's actually not rocket science. It's not that difficult. Criticism. Again, leaders know all about that. How many people criticize us? How many of our downline, you know, have complaints, which sometimes, again, we can take personally. They're not personal, guys. When somebody comes to you with a criticism, don't take it personally, unless it's about you as an individual. But even if it is you as an individual, see it as an opportunity to grow. In fact, thank that person. Be humble enough to say thank you for bringing that to my attention. And I will try to do better. If it's a criticism about the company, listen to what that person is saying. See if you can understand where they're coming from. Sometimes people get angry and criticize from a position of frustration. So understand where that frustration is coming from and help them to understand. And quite often, when you actually look at all of what they're talking about, that thing they're criticizing is just a symbol for their overall feeling. And if you can relate to that and help them get through it, then they'll be able to move forward so much easier. I just want to read out a couple of things here. Di says, I hit bottom 2 and pulled out of a mining business. I look back now and what I could have been, like everybody else says, if only. Yeah, let's go, start again and don't give up. But don't neglect your family, please. Yeah. At the very beginning, I said to my family, guys, I'm going to be working this hard for the next 3 months until the end of the year. You're not going to see a lot of me. I'll be hiding away in my cave of an office. I'll be coming out to eat and then back in again. Don't take it personally. I love you all still. And at the same time, make time for your family, for those you love. Okay? Even if it's only half an hour or an hour, where you can put away your phone, put away distractions, especially with your partner, and listen to them and talk with them and pay attention to them. Don't be, and I'm guilty of this too. Yeah, right. Okay, I hear you. Yeah, we're all guilty of that, guys. Men especially, I think. You know, pay attention to your family. That's really important. Thanks for that, Di.
It's no problem. I just want to say one thing that,
Sure.
you know, there's lots of people on here now and they do try and give lots of time. That's why I said family is so important.
Yeah.
Because you can get yourself in this little room where you think, you know, I've got to be the best. I've got to be involved. I've got to be online, and you're watching everything that's going on. And in the back of your mind, your family's there at the back. but they should be the forefront because they're the ones who are there, and that's what you're doing it for.
Yeah.
And sometimes people forget the big goal. If you're doing this for something and a reason, it's your family and you. And if you forget them all the time while you're doing this, just to make money or, just to see how good you can trade, and you lose that concept in your mind, that's when you lose your family too. So you've got to be 100% realizing that it's all part of one deal.
Mm. And at the end of the day, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? For most of us,
For
it's
a better life.
for a better life, for our family as well as ourselves.
Exactly.
So,
Yes, exactly.
don't take it to a place where you lose your family, just to attain that goal. Be balanced. Even Damon, he's taken, he takes the odd day off. Notice that, realize that. Michael took time off
He does.
recently for his family. Okay, we all need to do that. I took time off at the beginning of the month. Well, no, sorry, the middle of last month. I was actually I went off to somewhere warm. It was really for my health, because of those 3 o'clock nights and everything else. I'm not a young spring chicken anymore. I'm 55, and I was discovering it was actually mentally and physically, it was taking me down. But when I was out there, I was still able to work. That's the beauty about this business. We can be where Anand is there now, sitting on the beach with the palm tree in the background and the waves crashing behind him. We can be there building this business. So, but at this moment in time, we have to put in the struggle, put in the hours, but do not do it to the detriment of your overall happiness, which generally comes from our family. Okay, be aware of that, guys. Thank you. Kate says, but you guys get the prestigious London session. We don't get it on the West Coast. Yeah. Get up early.
Okay, I'm in Western Australia.
Yeah. Well, that's
So
early for you, isn't it?
Yeah, very hard for me.
Yeah, I know. Look, we all have our sacrifices that we have to go through as part of this business. Okay, going back to this, it's a sacrifice. As I said at the beginning, I'm a professional trader too, and I have a team of people who follow me and trade with me at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. And it used to be midday, but I actually brought it back to 11 so that people could go on the 12 o'clock session. In other words, the New York session. But what I'm trying to say is, I've forgotten what I was saying. Oh yes, I know now. My American clients, I have so much admiration for them, getting up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., whatever it is, to join me. Their time. That's not easy. But sometimes, we have to do that. But again, don't forget, Kate, don't forget that we have the best training. And I'm not just saying that. I've been in this industry for a long time. I've spent literally thousands, if not tens of thousands, on trading Forex. Okay, learning to trade Forex, I should say. I've spent thousands per month to learn what we're paying less than $100 per month for. Learn how to trade for yourself. Now, it's going to take a little bit of time, but do. In my own group, the Scholars Den, today, one of our guys, I think he just joined us not so long ago, Declan, put up a position that he saw coming up, a trade, and not long after, he was already 20 pips in, that is the wonderful thing, that if you can learn to trade for yourself, spot those setups, take those trades, make that money, you know what? it won't take you long before you've replaced the income that you're working 9 to 5 for at the moment. Do it. You know, put in the work now, and the reward, the success will come. Louis says, or Lewis, I think my rock bottom was getting my third year of architecture, getting to my third year of architecture school and not being accepted into the upper division of the courses at a different university. Yeah, that's tough. I reapplied to many other universities, and finally in a happier place in my life where maybe I'm in my 7th year of university, but I hopefully graduate in spring. Well, you know what? My hat off to you. 7 years to learn your trade. That takes dedication, perseverance. And, you know, again, you've had to go through all of these things, you know, in your course to get to where you want to be, which is a hopefully successful architect. Side point, my grandfather was actually a very successful architect, and built many prestigious buildings in Cork City well before I was born. Okay, Denise says, I got you 11-year-old daughter who I've barely seen in the last month. I took time to take her ice skating last week after I hit 500. Woohoo! I agree totally. Don't neglect your family. No, don't. But having said that, remember what I said at the very beginning. I said to my family, this is the way it's going to be. I am going to be working really hard for the next 3 months. So it's not going to be like it was before. But the goal is going to be that financial freedom, that time freedom that I'll have to be able to, you know, take them off on the holidays whenever we feel like it. You know, and do the things which up to now maybe we haven't been able to do. So yeah, but it's making sure people understand why you're doing what you're doing. Once they understand and can get on board with you, then it'll be easier. But please make sure you set aside time each day when you can just put everything back and spend it with them, paying attention to them. Yeah, Anand says, yeah, you want everything to align. So Di says, so keep focusing on your family as well as your business. That's so good. I'm so pleased that you did that. Yeah. And she's talking about Louis there, I think, or Denise, sorry. And Kate says, it's literally middle of the night for us. So getting up early doesn't help much, especially when your kids are small. Yeah, it's not sustainable in the long term. I understand that. And I'll get onto it sometime. Well, you know what? Okay, the London session may be at the moment the session to be on, but don't let that stop you from learning how to trade, okay, and doing it for yourself, as I was saying before. And Anand says, see or set family goals, and the income can pay for it. That says, we do what we do for whatever reason, but remember to make sure to sometimes take a small task to develop your wants and needs. Yeah. Going back again to why we do all of these things, why we go through all of these struggles, all of these sacrifices, these rejections, these criticisms, these doubts, failures, risks, all of these things. Why are we doing that? And it all comes back at the end of the day to your why. And you know, when you're finding you're hitting that brick wall, when you're finding yourself doubting about whether you should carry on at this, think about your why. And if your why isn't strong enough to break through that barrier, then you need to look at your why again and develop it, build it stronger. The people who will be successful at this are the people who've got a really strong why, a desire to be able to push through all of those issues and problems that stop them. So don't allow your dream to be stolen by others. You're going to get them, folks. You're going to get people saying, oh, that's one of those pyramid scheme things. How the hell did you get caught up in that, you wally? Okay? I'm sure we've all had people say that to us. And if you haven't, you will. Trust me, it's going to happen. Don't allow that person to steal your dream. You know, there's people out there who hate, and I'm not using that word lightly either, they hate to see others, especially friends, succeed. Why? Because they're afraid of losing you as a friend, and they will do whatever they need to do to keep you as their friend on their level. Don't allow it to happen, folks. If they try and do that to you, tell them you love them. Okay, you appreciate their friendship, and tell them that you want them to join you on this journey. But if they're not willing to join you on that journey, you may need to let them go, not fully, but temporarily, until you're in a place where you can come back. Now, some of us will change over the next 6 months to a year. We're not going to be the same people we were when we first started. Just be aware of that. You're going to change in many wonderful ways, ways which are good for you, ways which make you stop being that person you were, but being a much higher level of vibration, working at a higher level, a level that maybe your friends who are going along like this cannot see or sustain, because you're going to, whereas they're going, okay? They don't meet, they don't match. Now, I'm not saying throw away your friends, don't do that, no, no, no. But you may have to move away from them in order to be able to push through to where you need to get to. And by all means, please try and carry them with you. But don't let them bring you down to their level of vibration. Aim to go to that higher level for yourself, for your family, for your dreams. And by going through all of the wonderful materials that we have within the Winner's Circle, most of it is actually in the Discord group. We've got a huge wealth of recordings, mindset stuff, abundance materials, you know, helping you to vibrate on that different level, that level that will help you push through all of these problems that many of us are going through at the moment. Yeah, as Di says, you know, you don't need friends like that. Just say, I love you a lot and I'll be in touch when I can help you once I've made it. Yeah. Don't throw away your friends. Just say, hey, need time to myself and prove you can do it. Okay. But just be aware that you are going to get some kickback. Okay. You are going to upset people who you love and who love you. Be ready for that. Expect it. And you know what? When that happens, just say to yourself, yes, yes. Because it shows something, doesn't it? It shows that you're doing something right when you upset people around you. Because they don't understand it. It means that you are getting one step closer to that goal, to the top of that iceberg. You know, work through it. But the problem is, and this is what I'm trying to do with these weekly sessions. I really appreciate everyone for joining me and staying so long. It's great. What I'm trying to do is giving you those tools, those understandings about how other people think, how you think. I'm giving you like an armor, preparing you so that when these things happen, you understand what's going on. And rather than letting it deflate you, you know, when that really good friend starts making fun of you, it makes you go, yes, I'm doing something right. All right, just be aware of those things and allow them to happen. So we've got you know, a few minutes left before the hour is up. Is there anything anyone here would like to hear me talk about, maybe for future, or want me to talk about now? Is there anyone here who'd like to share anything? We've already heard from a couple of people. But maybe there's somebody here who'd like to share maybe their own experience of rejection or whatever, and how they were able to deal with it. Or do you just want me to continue talking? Di is unmuted. Where you go, Di?
No, I've not got a lot to say. I've put it in the chat, really.
You have. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just think that, you know, those people who are out here now with us, trying to make a new start in their life, you know, just keep positive. You'll always have people in the background saying, you don't know what you're doing. Why are you joining this MLM? Who the hell do you think you are? And it's all negatives, you know, but when you look at a negative, there's always a positive to hit it back.
Yeah.
So you just got to be strong and say, you know, I've decided to have a go at this. So don't knock me down. Just let's wait and see. But if you want to join in, come on board. Here's the link, come on board. And if you don't, then that's fine. Just wait to see the results.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think for me in particular, like out of all the kind of challenges that you might have around business and work and all this stuff, I'm kind of cool with the work side of stuff. It's more when you got the people close to you, right? And they get in your way. I honestly mean that, because I never, you know, asked for that to, like, it's just something like they just can't stay out of it, right? Whenever it comes up. When it was my birthday, 19th September, so just, I was really on a roll, honestly. I was on a huge roll, probably the best ever experience I've had in my entrepreneurial career. I was so excited to just go, like, it was my birthday, right? And it was my dinner and stuff. And I was just so excited. I was in a good mood. I was just happy to share, like, you know, in terms of just, hey, how's life and stuff. But to be honest, a lot of my life is my business, right? So I bring it up because there's nothing else going on, but that's fine. I've chosen that. But then the whole evening was just an interrogation about me and my business, you know? And I'm like, this is my birthday. Like, why are we talking about? It was only 4 of us, right? Because you only had 6 people per table. But I'll be honest, like they had some points, I get it, but it very affected me, you know, compared to if I'm just rock solid on my own kind of thing, because I'm not even trying to convince them about anything, but when they try and, you know, stamp on your dream and stuff, you can't help but defend it. And then all of a sudden the whole night became some sort of debate, as opposed to we just let it go and move on, almost because yeah, it was just because it just kept coming up. But I do believe that had a huge impact on me. It does like I've noticed whenever a lot of these things happen, if I go on holiday with friends when really I'd like to, you know, commit to what I'm doing, but because it's something arranged, I don't want to not go, because I feel like you said, you're neglecting your friends as such, right? Like, it's okay to take a weekend or 3 days off, but I do notice when these things happen, you know, out of choice, I went with them, but things happen, and it's unfortunate and it's sad that whenever I find it comes up, I come out of it and I'm like, fine, I've got to recover again. But I could tell that took a bit of a beating on me, you know, like I was on a real like launch and roll. And I was like, okay, it's not going to affect me, but on some level it did. But so that's what I think, you know, from that perspective.
Yeah, but do you see it?
Subconsciously.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, because you've actually beautifully illustrated what I'm trying to talk about, and what I'm trying to prepare people for. Um, because what you've shown is exactly what I've said. How your friends, now they were doing it without understanding themselves what they were doing. All they could see is their pal Anand, who probably had plenty of time for them, you know, was the life and soul of the party, you know, and all of that, is suddenly now involved in this, you know, new cult called Epic.
I've been on this path for about 3 years, in terms of like, I've moved out of that kind of world to do my life now, right?
Yes, sure,
And it's like, because it's been quite a while, it's like, so when's it going to pop? When's it going to happen, right? And I'm like, this is that time it's going to happen, but this is when they're most, you know, like, interrogating on it. So yeah, I mean, I understand I have not been around them as much, but at the same time, you know, it's like, I don't get in the way of others, so it's like, I don't appreciate them getting in the way of. But they weren't interrogating, like, I'm not gonna me sound so bad, it was more out of concern, because just, you know, things not have met expectations so far with what I was expecting, so they're doing
But
it
that
more
was
out
your
of concern.
birthday, wasn't it?
Sorry.
That was your birthday, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I was
So
thinking,
shouldn't they have let you enjoy your birthday and have your say?
100%. And then they just said, like, yeah, but all you're doing is your business, there's nothing else to talk about. Well, we can easily come up with something else to talk about, but I'll be honest, I didn't let it go, because I felt a passion to not defend as such, but, you know, like, I really don't like ignorance and stuff. So I always stand up to it as such, you know. Maybe, you know, I spoke to actually one of my coaches about this after it, because it really concerned me. And it's like, maybe it's something related to your past where you were bullied in school and you don't stand for anything like that, and for others as well. So even if it's your friends, if it's that kind of behavior and anything comes up and stuff, you will have, like you said, the reaction, right?
Yep.
Not based on now, but based
Yep.
on the past.
Yep.
But what really inspires me is, like, even if I look at people like Tony Robbins, or people like some of my other, like, people within my network, super successful in terms of where I would consider, right now I've made it, right? Even they're getting criticized by their friends, even though they've made it, right?
Of
So no matter
course.
what level of success we get to, we think, oh, when we get to a rank of, you know, 10K a month, yes, you guys, told you I did it, 20K a month, look, told you it was worth it. They can still criticize you, because they'll
It
actually
will
think
never
the
matter.
model. Exactly, because they
It'll
don't
never
really
matter, because there
model.
will always be somebody who will try and pull you down.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins is a good example of that. And he's got some sayings in there, and, you know, reading over all his things, he will tell you that he was always going to progress, but there was always somebody niggling in the background.
Yeah, I actually
And yeah.
I know Tony Robbins. I actually did his Mastery University over 10 years ago. Sorry, 15 years ago now, and went to his resort in Namali in Fiji. Oh, that's another story. But, you know, and I want to thank the two of you so much for sharing, because what you've done is you've actually been able to give us real life examples of exactly what I've been trying to talk about through this whole hour. And, you know, and your friends, you know, they do care about you, and they do worry about you, but they see you on this, as I said, almost like a cultish move away from them. You're no longer vibrating on their level. You're up here, and
It's
it
moving
irritates them,
from
it
the
upsets them,
norm.
it makes them alarmed, and you know, they are you know, naturally concerned um for you, because they don't understand. And
Then we're moving from the norm. That's what it is.
well, of course it is, yeah. And it makes people upset. So if the rest of you have learned nothing more than just to understand that this is going to happen, and when this happens, be ready, understand where it's coming from, don't let it upset you. I can understand how Anand got upset, you know, but be prepared for it. When you're prepared, you are armored. And you know, when these people start, you know, doing what happened to Anand, you can just sit back, be relaxed and say, oh, this is great. This is exactly what Angus was talking about, and it's happening. This means I'm doing something right. Okay? See it as a success, not a failure. Okay? And just tell your friends, guys, you know, I hear your concerns. You know, and I really appreciate it. I love you all to bits. I'm actually on a different journey. I'm not leaving you behind, but I may be putting you aside for a little while. Don't worry, I'll be back. But I just need you to be there to support me, not to bring me down. And we'll have time together again in the future where I won't be talking about the business all of the time. Well, maybe not all of the time, just most of it. But guys, we're up to our hour. I appreciate the time you've all given me. You know, we've had most of the time 20 people here. 2 people have just dropped off. That's understandable. They've got other things to do. I'm so thankful for your input. I hope you'll join me the same time next week when, you know, we'll be discussing other things and learning and helping each other through this whole journey. And that's, if I don't do anything else but help you be prepared for what's to come, then it's a success as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time. I have recorded this, and I will put it the recording up within the Winner's Circle group, and you can watch it and share it with your own groups later if you wish. So thank you. This is Angus Levie for the Winner's Circle and the Scholars Den, saying thank you and see you again next week. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Night-night.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Angus.
You're welcome.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys. That was awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.